different Agile frameworks you guys know? 5, 10. My workshop, I have more than 16. We start at our office with any possible frameworks. At one part, Scrum may work, and one Lean Kanban, the other one Lean Scrum, extreme programming. It has a set of values. We look at the features that need to be done. Best way is to pair a good architect with a novice architect, novice stuff typing, and we look at the features. We go through the feature, we create that feature, we test right away, and we test that production, and we go to next feature and next feature, and then this can't be count as feature driven, but because it's so extreme, because it's working in that kind of tandem work, it works really good. It's not good for every culture, every setting. I have tried and failed in many different areas. Feature-driven development, we look at features and we drive based on feature. Test-driven development, we write the test cases first. We develop based on those cases. When test-driven development starts, we have so many cases that our application shall not fail. For instance, when you're dealing with a login web page, and a test-driven development dictates that we look at any possible way that we fail. When we write the code for it, it will not fail. Behavioral driven development, based on the behavior of software, how it's going to behave. From when you have one condition, how many different branches from that condition may occur. Rapid application development, that's perfectly suited for prototyping. Dynamic system development is for large-scale system approach. Adaptive software development. Critical chain, critical path is part of the scheduling in PMI as well. Theory of constraint. Theory of constraint says that the weakest link in your team project has to be fixed first, because that's how your chain breaks. Think of a closed loop, find your weakest link, enforce that. Watch for Scrum bot. In every 10 engagement that I have, at least 4 of them are Scrum bot. They think it's Scrum, they think it's working, they think it's Agile, but it's nothing like Agile. And we create that Agile buzzword as an excuse. If you see that, please be brave enough to talk, stand up and fix it. That's one of the worst things that happens to any organization. And last, definitely not least, train and train and train. As I said, I have 16 different Agile frameworks that I have my workshops. But all of them depend on the last one, and that's training. Training has a lot of value that a lot of companies dismiss. Once you have one location, one office done, please use that as your model and see if you can multiply that. That's the best way to use the success approach and multiply that on different locations. You may be very successful here at US office, and when you duplicate or try to use the same approach, let's say in the office, you may have a lot of difficulties. That's because of cultural differences, language differences, communication among team, how strong team has been together, for how long they've been doing what they're doing, how trust is resolved among the team members. There are a lot of factors, but the best way is try to duplicate one success story, one success approach in different locations and then link them together. Scrum of Scrum, hybrid adaptive practice. Think large about the system, not the local office that you have. Think about the program and portfolio that your project is part of it. If your project is successful in your portfolio and other projects are not, your project is going to be dead as well. Because you're part of the system. You're not an island, you're part of the whole system. You need to take system-wide. Think long-term planning. Just because your project, you have iteration and you finish your first iteration, your job is not done. Think about planning. Think about your portfolio. Think training bottom-up and top-down. See how you can meet them in between. For some of us, we may not have much of a way to do that. It's good to have that mentality, so when you are in the environment, you know what you're talking about. You can enforce the idea of training from both bottom-up and top-down. Think about people. Train, 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 that's the best thing. Because Agile is not one thing we learn and we get graduated. It is not bachelor degree in mathematics. It's ever evolving. It's continuously growing. It's part of human being. Think of how we're evolving. Think of 1.5 kid looks at us, 2-legged people walking, tries to get up, can't. The muscle doesn't have enough strength. Holds on something, gets up first, second, third time, falls back, hits, tries, doesn't give up. Gets up again, holds on mommy or daddy's little finger, tries to walk. You know what's happening in his or her body? Brain is trying to adjust itself to order and synchronize the movement of muscles and joints. By these movements and frequent failing and learning from failure, unconsciously brain starts learning how to coordinate and synchronize the steps. That's Agile. That's how we learn. That's how we grow. Now let's talk about scalability. There are a few scaled Agile frameworks. We're going to talk about that. Differences seems to be minor. Outcomes are huge. One of them is called less. Large-scale Scrum. Doing less is doing more. They start with small increments and they look at what they're doing now. Forget about what's coming up. Of course they plan. But do right now what we have to do and provide what we need to provide now. We'll think about tomorrow. It is a multi-team Scrum framework. Basically, they have product owner, they have Scrum Master, Scrum team. They go through the retrospectives, stand-ups, and 2-week sprints. They are not much of enforcing on rules and roles. They're very loose in artifacts and processes, but they look at the value they generate. Product owner sets the roadmap. Most of the focus of less is on product owner as opposed to Scrum Master. Scrum is mostly on Scrum Master as change leader. The priority is the product vision, which is handled by product owner. There are teams, Scrum Master, product owner, and area product. When they go to large scale, when they have more than 12 teams, basically all the outcomes are coordinated at the code base. They're very customer centric. For less, team members have direct access to customers. In Scrum, many scale level Scrum, we don't have team access to customers. Less is advocating direct contact of team and customers. They're very feature oriented with multiple component approach. There are many different graphical models and visuals for less. Discipline Agile, that started as a project and just grow and grow and grow. Short notice about that is that PMI, Project Management Institute, acquired DAD. So DAD is not part of PMI. It's a hybrid toolkit. They use Scrum, Kanban, extreme programming, rational or unified processes, anything in between, because that's how they go for disciplining agility at large scale. And when they deliver, they have part of the organization going Scrum, the other part going Lean Kanban. A fintech in New York, I can't say which company, one part of their application on future stock price calculation, they had about a dozen of PhD mathematics they were using a Scrum program. And the rest of the organization was using some sort of Scrum and Kanban. Some places they use SAFe at portfolio level. It is a full life cycle delivery of a product. It supports different life cycles. They go from versioning to versioning. It is very outcome driven, very value driven. They believe in and they advocate self-organization. And depending on the structure, they go for appropriate governance. That's why PMI bought them. Because it's agility at structured level. And again, there are many visual representation of that. Scrum at scale. It is very simple in concept and extremely hard to implement and triple hard if you don't have executives aligned with you. It's dead at start. But if executive support, this is one of the best things that can happen. By definition, Scrum at Scale is a framework within which people can address complex, adaptive problems while productively and creatively delivering their values. It is a scale from Scrum of Scrum to Scrum of Scrum of Scrum to executive meta Scrum to executive action team to executive meta Scrum. Let's think of one Scrum team. It has 5 legs in it. We can have up to 7, 8. If it reaches 9, I would say try to break it. Then we have 5 teams. It says 5. We may have 6. May have 4. We create Scrum of Scrum. If we have 25 of them, it's basically duplicating the idea and creating an organization based on Scrum. If you go to scrumatscale.com, you will see at least 300 different case studies. Then, from Scrum of Scrum, we go to Meta Scrum of 5 teams. Basically what happens, product owners create their own Scrum, that each dealing with different issues of their product backlog, grooming, adding, negotiation with customers, and they have their own Scrum, right? Same goes with Meta Scrum. Again, there are case studies. Go look at them. We can have organization of more than 5,000 people. This may happen only and only if we have executives behind us. And it takes a lot of training. There are God knows how many different successful case studies there. One of my examples, the project back in 2017. When I was engaged with the project, I thought it was a very small project. I created customer relation management system, ERPs, enterprise resource planning, invoicing, God knows how many of them. So a company approached, I didn't know, was the CTO of the implementation company asking for a consolidated, integrated CRM and ERP with messaging system. Okay, what messaging system you want? Email. We're using Exchange Server. Okay, I've done it. So we signed the contract. He told me the project may grow, no problem. But he was behind me 120%. I didn't know that this company had offices in more than 14 countries. I started with 2 of their team in Eastern Europe. And just accidentally, I found that one of their team was using Scrum for over 8 months on different things. So I engaged with them and voila, they were on board. Didn't take a week. He knew their team. Their Scrum Masters were there. We have 2 other offices using Scrum. Okay, I was thinking Scrum of Scrum. Different locations, doing different pieces of application. All in same portfolio. Now I had 4 Scrum team. And I was like about 5 weeks within my project. I still didn't see the magnitude of the project. Long story short, we created Scrum teams on different parts of the world. I did it just because I have CTO of the implementation and VP of the engineering behind me. We created a consolidated, integrated CRM, ERP, invoicing, messaging, and HR. We were bidding on this project for $5 million. I didn't get even a percentage of that. But I'm so happy I did because I learned so much from it. That was Scrum of Scrum. I did just by learning about it. At every step I went back and I looked for how I can scale a Scrum team. So I found Scrum of Scrum. And I went from Scrum of Scrum to Scrum of Scrum of Scrum. And here, I broke that to here. Actually, I broke to here, and I had 2 presentations for executives, and I was signed off. There are many examples, many